Welcome back to another episode of The Quest for Self. I'm your host, Allie, and I want to thank you so much for being with me here today. Have you ever looked in the mirror and felt like a stranger was staring back? Maybe you've lost yourself in love, in work, or even in friendships. And it's terrifying how slow it actually happens. It doesn't happen all at once. You don't wake up one day and suddenly lose yourself. You slowly trade pieces of who you are for comfort, for peace, for love, until one day you realize you don't recognize the person you've become. Sometimes it starts with small compromises, not wanting to do the things you once loved because the person you're with doesn't enjoy them. So you tell yourself it's not a big deal and you slowly stop doing them. Then come the moments of silence, the times you wanted to speak up, but because something hurt, because you didn't feel valued, because you didn't feel heard, but you stayed quiet, not because you didn't care, but because you didn't want to create tension. And then there are the times you cancel on yourself. When you put your needs last, you're feeling second, your voice on hold. And before you even realize it, you're not just compromising on little things anymore. You're compromising on who you are. And if you've ever felt that way, you're not alone. Psychologists actually say most people don't choose happiness, they choose what feels familiar. We'll stay in situations that make us miserable just because they feel safe, just because change feels scarier than staying stuck. So if you've ever thought, why do I stay when I'm unhappy? The answer isn't weakness, it's being human. We tell ourselves we're being patient, loyal, understanding, but deep down, we're just afraid of what choosing ourselves might cost us. And that fear keeps so many of us exactly where we are. I learned this through a relationship that slowly taught me how easy it is to disappear without even noticing. Not because anyone forced me to, but because I thought love, it meant shrinking. Recently, I was flipping through my phone and found old notes from a trip to Greece. I had been journaling my feelings while watching the sunset over the Aegean. I remember the cool wind on my face that evening, my phone trembling in my hands as I typed out my feelings. And I was so sad. I was crying silently, asking myself for help, trying to figure out what I should do. I felt so much confusion, guilt, and fear. Like I was pleading with myself to remember who I was underneath the compromises. That moment was the moment I realized that happiness wasn't something someone else could give me. It had to come from reclaiming myself. There's actually a name for what a lot of us do in relationships, friendships, or even at work. It's called self silencing. It shows up when you hold back your opinion because you don't want to upset someone, when you skip the hobbies that make you light up because they don't enjoy them as much as you do, or when you avoid talking about what hurts just to keep the peace. That looks like saying, I'm fine, when you're not, because it's easier than conflict. Skipping a favorite dessert, a playlist, or hobby because someone else won't enjoy it. It's subtle, but over time it chips away at who you are until the quiet becomes the norm. So let me ask you, where in your life have you gone quiet? just to stay comfortable. The scary part, it isn't losing yourself. The scary part is getting used to it. Over time, numbness, it sets in. You stop noticing the small disappointments. You mistake routine for stability. You keep scrolling through social media, comparing yourself to people who seem fulfilled, while you quietly stop imagining what your own joy could really look like. You stop dreaming. You stop imagining. Stop believing that more is possible. You settle into a life that feels tolerable, convincing yourself that this is fine, when really your soul is quietly asking for more. Close your eyes and picture yourself 5 years from now. Are you proud of who you see? We talk about self love like it's candles and affirmations, but sometimes self love is much louder than that. Sometimes self love is asking the hard questions. Am I growing here? Pause for a moment. What does growth feel like for you? Am I becoming smaller? Notice if parts of yourself are fading or being silenced. Am I choosing peace or avoiding change? Ask yourself, is this comfort or is this a cage? Let me ask you a few more things, and I really want you to sit with them. Are you living a life that truly excites you, or just one that feels familiar? Are you staying because you're loved or because you're afraid to start over? If nothing changed in your life for the next 5 years, would you be okay with that? The moment I realized I didn't need permission to choose myself, everything shifted. And that's when I learned something I wish I knew sooner. A relationship should add to who you are, not replace you. So if you're in a season of your life where you feel lost, don't ask yourself, what's wrong with me? Ask yourself instead, when did I stop choosing me? Because the moment you start choosing yourself again, you don't just find happiness, you find yourself. Every step you take, no matter how small, leads you closer to a better version of yourself. And here's the truth: choosing yourself isn't selfish, it's revolutionary. It's the quiet courage that rebuilds your life, one brave step at a time. The steps you take today, speaking up for your feelings, reclaiming your passions, honoring your needs, are the same steps that will lead you to a life where you finally feel alive. So ask yourself, what's one small step you could take right now to choose you? And every step matters. Every step moves you closer. Every step leads you to the person you're meant to become. And when you start choosing yourself, something magical happens. You stop surviving and you start truly living. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of The Quest for Self. I really hope you enjoyed it. And if this resonated, don't forget to follow, like, or share with someone you think might need to hear this message. Don't forget to follow us on social media, The Quest for Self.